everybody else just a little confused sometimes by all of the different genders that are now available? Okay, first of all, I should probably have a little disclaimer because I come in peace. And I'm going to give you a little story. An agency recently reached out to me and I was doing a little digging, if you will. You know, as an influencer, this is what I do for a living. I definitely wanted to see the type of brands that they worked with, along with, you know, any opportunities that they had available. Now, I landed on this form, and this is the form that you have to fill out to be on the roster. You know, very standard procedure. So I went and filled out the form, and along with the usual information, name, number, address, and I kid you not, there is 15 different genders on this list. Where do I fit in? Who am I? And this is what sparked this whole video, because as much as, you know, they're just adding more genders to the list, I feel like there's a lack of education sometimes around what does it all mean. The first option, agender, I don't know what that means. Is that a typo? And then it goes into bigender, gender fluid, genderqueer, men. Oh, I recognize that one. So I decided to create this video and we can all learn together what it all means. And of course, you can give me your thoughts down below. Where does it end? Where does it stop? If we have 15 options, it's hard for me to say where are we going? You know, I'm not too sure. When I grew up, you know, there was only 2 genders. So I still remember these days vividly. Whatever form had male or female, there was no other options, and now we have 15. So I guess we've progressed a lot, but at the same time I feel like I also know less and less around the genders. So let's get this video started. How about we start learning? So number 1, come to the front, agender. What does that mean? According to Google, and that is their AI answering, which is great, agender is a gender identity where someone does not identify with any gender. This means they don't feel like a man, woman, or any other gender, and may use terms like genderless or gender neutral. We don't identify with any of the genders. Okay, cool. Simple enough. Now let's go into bigender. That one I have an idea, but let's see what, you know, Google/AI has to say. Bigender is the gender identity where individual experiences 2 distinct gender identities, either simultaneously or alternating between them. These 2 genders can be any combination, not just male and female. It falls under the non-binary and transgender umbrella. Okay. I don't know if I quite understand. So you experience 2 distinct gender identities, either simultaneously or alternating between them. And these 2 genders can be a combination of not just male and female. Maybe non-binary is like a big umbrella. Transgender is another big umbrella. And there's like little genders under them. Is that accurate to say? Because I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to offend anybody. And that's the thing too, where, you know, the less education you have, the more I feel like I don't even want to have these conversations with people, because it's easy to say the wrong thing. And I'm not trying to say the wrong thing, but they can take it as the wrong thing. And, you know, the conversation can go south really quickly. So I kind of stay in my shell when it comes to that. At the same time, maybe if there was more education, you know, I'll be more confident around these issues. But anyways, all right. So that one is confusing to me. I'm not gonna lie. Gender fluid. I also felt like I had an idea of what gender fluid is, but we are going to read it. Gender fluid is an identity where a person's gender identity or expression shifts over time or depending on the situation. Depending on the situation? My goodness. Okay. It's a type of non-binary gender identity, meaning it doesn't align strictly with the traditional categories of male or female. For some, this fluidity might be a way to explore gender, while for others, it's a continuous part of their identity. Okay, so we don't know where we belong. We're just swaying right and left. So I'm trying to understand what is the real difference between bigender and gender fluid. Shifts over time, but then you experiencing both of them. Moving on to the next one. Genderqueer come to the front. And, you know, I've heard of queer a few times, part of the LGBTQ++, and apparently LGBTQ++, there's more now. I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to be rude. I'm coming from a place of trying to learn and understand. But anyways, let's keep going. Genderqueer is a term used to describe individuals whose gender identity falls outside of the traditional male and female binary. It can encompass a wide range of identity, including those who feel they are between genders, beyond genders, or who reject the binary system entirely. Often used interchangeably with non-binary. You know what? I feel like non-binary is also on the list. Okay, see? This is very confusing because as I'm looking at this list of 15 different gender identities, genderqueer is on there, non-binary is also on there. But then Google and AI is letting me know that it is often used interchangeably with non-binary. So how do you separate yourself from the two, right? Like, what is the actual key component that will separate a genderqueer from a non-binary individual? It's the umbrella term for gender identities that are not exclusive to male and female. I'm already so confused. I'm confused. Like, we're on number 4 and I don't know where my mind is going. Like, okay, well, you know what? Let's go with men. Let's go to the next one, because do I really know what a man is? I don't know. A man is an adult male human. Okay, that one seems pretty straightforward. You know, it went somewhere in my mind. It hit some part of my brain that told me, Jen, you understand this concept. Adult male human. Very clear. Before adulthood, a male child or adolescent is referred to as a boy. I also understand that one. Okay, maybe it's where I come from, where I grew up, the era that I came from, you know, because it all seemed very confusing. Everything else felt like it came from feelings, but I don't know. Adult male human. Cool. Next, come to the front, non-binary. Now I am very interested into that one to see what the definition is. Non-binary is an umbrella term for gender identities that are not exclusively male or female. Okay, I just feel like they really use the same exact words to describe half of the other ones that we just read. Is a term used to describe an individual whose identity falls outside of the traditional male and female. Now you have umbrella term for identities that are not exclusively male and female. Like, it's just the word choices. It's so similar, but not the same. All right, let me finish. It encompasses a wide range of identities that fall outside the traditional gender binary, including those whose identity as both male and female, neither, or somewhere in between. Non-binary people may also use other terms to describe their specific gender identity, such as genderqueer, agender, and gender fluid. And I hope I'm saying these words right. If I'm not, you know, please correct me. I don't mind. I guess it's agender, agender, agender. Oh, you know what? If I identified as agender, I would want people to pronounce it as gender. Oh, I like it. Okay, focus, learn, take in the information, Jen. All right, I'm reading it here and I don't know if I really understand. Umbrella term for gender identities that are not exclusively male or female. It encompasses a wide range of identities that fall outside the traditional gender binary. Okay. So you can use other terms such as genderqueer, agender, or gender fluid to interchangeably with non-binary. So then why do we have all these different options? Why are they all options if they all mean the same thing? Do they mean the same? What is the key difference? It's not giving me a key difference here. Let me go into a detailed explanation. The concept of a gender binary. Okay, maybe this is the part that I need. The concept of a gender binary refers to the idea that there are only 2 genders, male and female. Non-binary identities are those that exist outside of this binary understanding of gender. Okay, we are going outside of the pie. We don't want apple pie, we want raspberry. But we're using apple pie to define all pies. Yeah, that makes sense. And then trying to go outside of that to get to the raspberry pie.
languages.
I really want to understand where we're coming from when we come out with all of these labels and what is the deep meaning for it all, right? Because in my mind, I just feel like we're just throwing words and they all mean the same thing. It's all part of a big word salad at this point, because what is the key differences between non-binary, genderqueer, agender? I don't see the difference yet. But anyways, let's keep on going. We're only the 5th gender on the list and we got 10 more to go. Non-conforming generally means, no, sorry. It's giving me legal terms. Non-conforming generally means failing to comply with established standards or norms. That is not what we're trying to get. Gender non-conforming individuals are those whose gender expression, which includes behavior, mannerism, and appearance, differ from the gender norms and expectations associated with their assigned sex at birth. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm processing. I'm processing this in the moment with you. I haven't searched any of these terms yet. I'm just doing it right now because I thought it'd be interesting to kind of react in person, and I'm just like glitching as I think of my own thoughts. Do we need to put those individuals in a gender category just because your behavior may not be what's expected, even though because your behavior or mannerism or appearance differ from the gender you were assigned at sex? For example, what pops in my mind is tomboys, and I was a tomboy when I was growing up. You know, I grew up with my brothers. I don't have a sister, so I definitely picked up on a lot of their mannerism and their behaviors, and I was doing what they were doing. So I guess you could say I was a non-conformer growing up. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I was growing up in today's day and age, would that mean that I would have to classify myself in a different category just because I was a tomboy? And I think we all can behave however we want to behave without having to go deep into it and say that we are a different gender. If I just so happen to be more of a tomboy or have a little bit more masculine trait, ironically enough, look at me now, I love hair and makeup, but my gender was still my gender. Again, I guess I wasn't even thinking about these things, and I wasn't even aware of any of this when I was growing up. It was just, you know, you start acting like the people that are in your lives. You are the sum, they say, as the 5 people that you hang out with, for example. So that's very interesting that this needs to be a separate category on the list as an option, because I don't see why that extra step is needed to say, hey, because I happen to have different mannerisms or I behave a little differently than what's expected of me, being maybe a male or a female, means that I need to have a different category of my own. I just feel like we're creating excessive categories, and that's probably what's also creating a bit of confusion between all of these terms, right? Is it just me? I can't be the only one that's confused when it comes to this. And I find that it's really hard for me to navigate. For example, if I'm talking to someone, they're like, oh, I'm non-binary. I don't know what to say. I'm already tiptoeing now. Like, I don't want to offend anybody. And I respect your choices, but at the same time, I have questions that I can't really ask. All right, moving on to the next one. Questioning. Is questioning a gender? Like, maybe we're trying to be too progressive. Questioning gender. Questioning in the context of gender refers to the process of exploring and potentially questioning one's gender identity or sexual orientation. That one is pretty clear. It's a period of uncertainty and exploration where individuals may be unsure about their gender or sexual orientation. This can be a temporary or ongoing issue, and it's a valid part of many people's journey of self-discovery. I see, and I can see how that can be an ongoing thing because of all the confusion that's already with some of the terms that we described. I mean, I found it confusing, so maybe I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I'm super confused right now. I thought this video was going to give me more clarity in terms of the different genders, but it's not. Questioning is clear though. Third gender. I haven't heard of this one. The term third gender refers to a social category that recognizes individuals who do not identify exclusively as male and female, or who are categorized as neither by their society. It encompasses various gender identities and expressions beyond the traditional binary of male and female. I'm so confused. What does that mean? Social category that recognizes individuals who do not identify exclusively as male or female. But we've had so many other terms that took care of that. Agender takes care of that. Bigender takes care of that. Gender fluid. Like, if you can't fit in all of these different ones, I don't know if there is a category for you. We don't need to keep making up new terms. I think we need to start fit in where we fit in. Like, you have to fit somewhere. You can't just be like, I am a soul in this world and I don't fit anywhere. Maybe that should be a gender, like a broad category of just souls. Yeah, that, I may be onto something here. All right, so third gender is very interesting. It goes beyond the binary. The concept of a third gender acknowledges that gender is not limited to two options, male or female, and these individuals may identify as a third gender, and societies may also recognize a third gender too. So, okay, I guess it may depends on where you come from. All right, moving on to transfeminine. Okay, we know trans. Transfeminine is an umbrella term. Every time they say umbrella term, I'm just like, oh my God. I already know we're gonna go in a spiral. I'm sorry. Let's be lighthearted about this, okay? Transfeminine is an umbrella term describing individuals assigned male at birth who identify with femininity. It encompasses both trans women and non-binary individuals who feel a connection to femininity, even if they don't exclusively identify as women. Okay, see? That one took me for a little loop halfway through. At first, I felt I understood, and then when they said it encompasses both trans women and non-binary individuals, that one's confusing because I thought non-binary, and if you want to go back, did not identify as exclusively male and female, but then you can identify as a trans feminine who identifies with femininity. Y'all see how that just like took you like around a little bit? Because if you're non-binary, you don't believe in male and female, so how do you believe in femininity? Why did I do this to myself? Okay. I will take the information. I will not question it. Transfeminine individuals were assigned male at birth based on their physical characteristics, but their gender identity is primarily aligned with femininity rather than masculinity. It includes both binary trans women and non-binary individuals who feel a connection to femininity. All right, but you also need to understand not all trans feminine people identify as women, and some may be non-binary. I thought the whole point, okay, trans women identify as women, but trans feminine, they want to take the essence of what makes us women, but then not identify as women. Okay, I see. You just want to like pick and choose, right? You want the choice to be able to pick and choose what you want, and that's probably why there is a long list. Moving on, because I forgot I had a long list to go. Transmasculine, I assume is the opposite. Transmasculine is an umbrella term for individuals who were assigned female at birth, but identify with masculinity to a greater extent than femininity. Okay. Well, see, I feel like they're trying to do something by keeping femininity in there. You identify with masculinity to a greater extent than femininity. This can include transgender men and non-binary people who identify with masculinity. Okay, that makes sense. Transmasculine people may or may not identify as male, and their gender expression can vary. Okay. This means a person was assigned female at birth based on their physical anatomy, but then refers to a range of traits, behavior, and identity associated with men and masculinity. So basically tomboys. No, girls. Tomboys. Yes. I'm sorry, see? It's so confusing. While transmasculine people may feel a connection to masculinity, they may not always identify as male or use male pronouns. And that's a whole other conversation actually with pronouns that we're not even going to tackle in this video because I find that super confusing. Quick little story. There's someone that I know who I believe, I don't even know, I think she's non-binary, but she started dating someone who is also non-binary, but they refer to themselves, I don't even know. Forget the story, and I don't question. And me trying to explain the story to you, that's when I realized I don't understand it. Moving on. Next. Woman. I know woman, but let's see how they describe it. The word woman can be used generally to mean any female human, or especially to mean an adult female human as contrasted with girl. When I searched for men, it gave me a very straightforward one-liner description. When I searched for women, it gave me this whole paragraph. The word women can be used generally to mean any female human, or specifically to mean an adult female human as contrasted with girl. The word girl originally meant young person of either sex in English. It was only around the beginning of the 16th century that it became to mean specifically a female child. That's what it's giving me. And if you scroll down a little bit, Cambridge Dictionary describes it as an adult who lives and identifies as female, though they may have been considered to have a different sex at birth. Okay, so it's very interesting how there is a little bit of extra explanation for what is a woman. What is a woman? I guess I identify as a woman, so I feel like I should know. And I am going to say I definitely feel a lot more protective of the word woman now that I'm a mother. Before, I was very much like, oh, whatever, it's one of those genders, you know, throw it in the pile, throw it in the list, whatever, it is what it is. But now that I became a mother and I went through the whole process of getting pregnant, carrying said pregnancy, and delivering a baby, okay, having gone through that process, and then keeping the baby alive through the fluids that comes out of my own bosom, I am very protective of the word women. I am going to be very honest with you. I feel that people throw it around right and left. However, it is a very sacred process, having gone through pregnancy, childbirth, and being a mother right now. It's a sacred process. I don't know how to explain it except that I am very protective of the word. So when people throw it around now, I do feel some sort of way around the word women, because then, oh, anybody can identify. Pregnancy, birth, delivering said child. I think that is like, I don't even know how to say it. How do I explain this? Because you have to have gone through pregnancy and birth to understand how sacred this whole thing is. And I find that it devalues what a woman is when it's just being thrown around and anybody can kind of like loop themselves in and identify as such. Again, I'm not trying to go for anybody. I'm just saying how I feel inside when someone is just throwing that word around. Because even for me, I feel like I never really put or recognize how sacred it is to be a woman, to be able to do what I've just gone through and done twice, which is bringing life into this world. Now we have I prefer not to answer as one of the options, because even though you have 14 different options to choose from, perhaps you don't fit in any of that. I prefer to self-describe below. So they give you the choice of putting in whatever you want to put in. And then other, which is basically them saying, we give up. We don't know what you are. We don't know what else is out there. So you let us know. Those last two options, I prefer to self-describe, or other is letting them know that we give up. We have nothing else to give you. Please pick and choose from the list, or let us know what you want to be identified as. So that is very interesting. I want to say, having gone through this list, which is why I wanted to bring it here, it's just very confusing, I have to say. And I can only imagine how confusing this is for children growing up and looking at this list and saying, oh, I don't know what I am. Because if me as an adult can barely understand the difference between agender and bigender and genderqueer and gender fluid and non-binary, you can only imagine a young mind, a young, impressionable mind, going through this life and being exposed to all of that, for them to be like, oh, I'm a third gender. Like, how do you know? I don't know. I don't even know the difference between half of them. So I can see how someone can stay in the questioning stage for till the end of time at that point. Or I mean, just switching right and left. Maybe you start agender, you go to bi, and then you go to gender fluid. Like, it's a lot. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. I guess again, I feel like I should have a little disclaimer. Video is not meant to shame or guilt or whatever anybody. If anything, if you want to educate the rest of us that are very confused in terms of what all of these terms mean and the key differences between them, please leave a comment down below. Let us know. Teach us, because Google did very little for me. I think I have a lot of questions in terms of what is the difference. A lot of them were very much the same, but I guess it's going by feelings and it's also going by the terms that you want to use, because a lot of it can be used interchangeably. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.